going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, I wanted to dive into this wild three-team trade idea where it had the Bulls landing Brandon Ingram. Now, this was Sports Illustrated who suggested this trade idea. There is no real reporting or real, insight that we've gotten where this trade could actually come to fruition. But a little sneak peek here. In this three-team trade, the Bulls are actually trading Nikola Vucevic. So if you guys want the Bulls to trade Vuce this offseason before the season starts, just hit that thumbs up icon. As if I had to pick one Bulls player to get off this roster, it would no doubt be the center, Nikola Vucevic. So if you guys feel the same, hit that thumbs up icon. Maybe send a message to the Bulls front office if any of them ever came across one of these videos. But hit that like button if you want the Bulls to trade Vuce. So this was the blockbuster, wild three-team trade idea that Sports Illustrated suggested. Now, it was between the Chicago Bulls, Atlanta Hawks, and the New Orleans Pelicans. But the Bulls in this trade, you're getting Brandon Ingram, Kobe Buffkin, Cody Zeller, and Garrison Matthews. Now, the Hawks in this deal are receiving Ayo, Jordan Hawkins, and then the Pelicans are getting Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic, and a 2028 second-round pick via the Chicago Bulls. Now, in terms of the Pelican side of things, this makes a whole lot of sense. They need a center. They're not going to run Daniel Tice for all 82 games starting at that center position. And they also have a need for a backup guard. And maybe they say, hey, we're going to take a chance on Lonzo maybe returning to his old self, and he would be a great sixth man. But also in terms of the Hawks side of things, I think this is a great deal as well for them. You're getting Ayo and Jordan Hawkins, and really they're not giving up much. So we'll talk about more about Ayo here in a second. But Joey Lynn, and actually Bulls insider, saw this trade and, decided to give his thoughts. And he said this. He said, this is a hypothetical trade idea and not sourced reporting on any interest from the three teams. But it is certainly an interesting framework. Ingram is entering the final year of his 5-year, $158 million contract with the Pelicans, but he is likely not a player the Bulls want to pay next offseason. And I totally agree with what Joey is saying. I have zero interest in Brandon Ingram, specifically on the Chicago Bulls. I am still a fan of Ingram's game. I think he is a top 35-ish player in the NBA as it stands right now, and he's that prototypical big point forward. He's actually a very underrated playmaker. He can score at all three levels, and he is a plus defender just due to his size. But does it fit the Bulls' timeline? Not at all. But, Ingram is still a stat sheet stuffer throughout the last 4 years. Now, he is coming off probably his worst year out of the last 4, but he is still able to put up good production. 20.8 points per game, 5.7 assists, 42.2% from the field, and his three-point number did go down this past season as he did only shoot 35.5% from deep, but that run from 2020 to 2022, he was a very efficient 24 points a game guy. Now, Ingram has had his struggles in the postseason. All those numbers, they go down a little bit. He only averages 22 points a game, 5.5 assists, 5 rebounds, and more specifically this past season against the Oklahoma City Thunder when Zion was not in the lineup for New Orleans, Brandon Ingram struggled. I think the numbers shook out as he averaged 13.5 points per game. He was shooting 34%, and he was also shooting 25% from downtown. So definitely the worst year of Ingram's kind of career is what he is coming off of, but I like Ingram as a player. I'm not saying I don't want good players on the Bulls, but adding a guy like Brandon Ingram would just keep the Bulls in purgatory because he is a good enough player to get you potentially around that 10th, 9th seed in the Eastern Conference, but he is nowhere good enough to get you to the top of the Eastern Conference where we're really talking about contending for titles. And again, I asked the Bulls front office this. Is the goal to make the playoffs or is it to win championships? Because over the past couple of years being a Bulls fan, they have seemed fine with just hosting one play-in tournament game and then just relatively keeping the roster the same. Are we trying to win championships? Or are we just trying to host a couple play-in tournament games? And it just gets me back to the point of just having no faith in this front office to make the right move. I could so see the Bulls front office having a ton of interest in Ingram, saying oh, that's the piece that's going to get us over the hump. Trust me, it would not. But maybe you guys disagree with me. Do you guys want Brandon Ingram on the Bulls? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below in the comment section. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. So if YouTube throws an ad break your way, sit back, let it play, and let me know your thoughts if you want Brandon Ingram on the Chicago Bulls. Now, we'll dive into more about that trade here in a second. But first off, I got to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. And if you guys download the PrizePicks app today, Use promo code CLNS. You guys will get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. And you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Now, for all the Bears fans out there, they do have a sweet deal going on right now where one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you one win on PrizePicks every single week in September. That's right. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. That is 2 more weeks of free W's. So do not miss out on this deal on PrizePicks because it is gone once September ends. So if you guys want to get that $50 instantly when you just play $5, just use that promo code CLNS. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. And the best part is you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. I'll put that link for you guys in the comments and description of today's show. But shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's edition of the Bulls Report. So let's kick it back to this trade here. Now, we already talked about it on the side of the Bulls, where you are getting Brandon Ingram, Kobe Buffkin, Cody Zeller, and Garrison Matthews. But why I think this is such a terrible trade for the Bulls is because you are giving up. Yes, I would love to trade Nikola Vucevic. And Lonzo, I would not love to trade him, but it really wouldn't, have me feeling any type of way if the Bulls were to move off him. But this man right here, Ayo, I don't understand what these NBA analysts think of Ayo Dosunmu. I think he has gone extremely underrated, and this kicks it back to a trade idea I saw Bleacher Report toss out there where it was just necessarily a Ayo for Pat Connaughton swap. I am not saying Ayo is a potential all-star in the NBA. But I think he is going to develop into one of the best role-playing guards that we have in the league. He can defend. He can knock down open shots. He is great in transition. And the one part about Ayo's game that I loved so much last year is him in transition. He is fantastic at pushing the ball up the floor, and he is way faster than, honestly, I ever thought he was, and that's a big reason why he finally had this breakout year. I mean, in just 29 minutes a game, he was shooting over 50% from the field, over 40% from three, averaging 12.2 points per game, and he did a little playmaking as well, 3.2 assists. This is not a guy who is still young that I just want the Bulls to give up. If I honestly had to just lock down one player on the Bulls roster that I am not trading, I would actually choose a guy like Ayo, even over a guy like Kobe White or Patrick Williams. I think Kobe White is a better player in a vacuum than Ayo, but in terms of just, playing the game of basketball on both sides of the floor, and in terms of a guy that can contribute to winning, I think that is Ayo, by far none compared to everybody else on this Bulls team. And a guy who doesn't contribute to winning whatsoever is this man right here, Nikola Vucevic. Now, I would absolutely love this trade just to move off Vooch if you just took out Ayo and maybe put Javon Carter in there for the Atlanta Hawks. But again, if the Bulls could ever trade Vooch before the season starts, I would be absolutely thrilled. And, Lonzo Ball, just think about trading him. I just don't really see the point because I don't think he has any trade value right now, even though he is on an expiring deal, 1 year, $20 million. So maybe another team will say, hey, we'll take a chance on that $20 million salary. If it doesn't work out, we can just, get rid of him at the end of the year. So, but in terms of the Bulls trading him, I would probably be against it. You wait all this time for him to finally rehab from his injury, and then you just deal him, to get a guy like Brandon Ingram. That would just keep you, the same. But this is the total haul from the 3-team trade. The Bulls get Ingram, Buffkin, Zeller, and Garrison Matthews, but they give away Lonzo Ball, Nikola Vucevic, and Ayo. I just think this is a terrible trade for the Bulls. And you would have this starting lineup heading into the next season, which, it would be fun. Like, they would put up a lot of points. They would play an entertaining brand of basketball with Giddey at the 1, Kobe White at the 2, Levine at the 3, Ingram at the 4. I mean, this is just a wild lineup. And then you had to have Jalen Smith at the 5. But, this team is not getting you anywhere. This team is keeping you in purgatory. And, that's why I think it's a terrible trade, because the Bulls, I don't think there is a trade out there in terms of them being buyers, unless it would be for like an unreal superstar that would even get them close to sniffing competing for a championship. So what do you do then? You reset, you trade away a lot of your good players, you get draft capital, you get young talent, and you move on. Sometimes you need to be really bad in the NBA for a couple years to maybe land that lottery ticket as a superstar, or just somehow just move forward and closer to winning championships. It's just this roster has just hit a wall. And that's why I think this trade is just absolutely terrible for the Bulls. But we'll close today's show out with this. What is your confidence level in the Bulls front office? Scale it for me 1 through 10 down below in the comment section. If I'm being honest, I'm at a 1. I'm just kind of getting sick and tired about the Chicago Bulls and just, still off season is almost done, season's almost here, and for another season, Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic are still on this roster. I just have no faith in this front office. It honestly takes the fun out of being a Bulls fan, and I just feel bad for you guys. Like, Chicago deserves better. Chicago basketball deserves better. It's a great high school basketball state, even a sneakily good, college basketball state with, DePaul, Loyola, and U of I, but this Bulls team just sucks the fun out of being an NBA fan. So you guys let me know, what's your confidence level in the front office? And also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's the handle right there, at Pat Seeps. You guys give me a follow over there. I'll follow you right back. But see you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.